Welcome back to the channel today, guys. Now, full disclosure to all of you, I feel terrible right now. So if I sound different, if I look tired, it's because I am, trust me. But I had to come give you guys a video today because I didn't record yesterday. I apologize for that. But I had to bring you guys this even though I feel like shit. And speaking of shit, actually, what a good choice of words I just used. Because today, we're going to talk about a truly dog shit series that aired in our 2023 fall season today. That is the Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy. Now, many of you might be thinking, oh, dude, just look at the cover of this series. Obviously, it's going to be shit. Let me tell you just how bad this show is. Oh boy, there's a lot to talk about. Because even amongst shows of this type, first things first, let's talk about that. Is this just becoming another genre in and of itself? The reincarnated demon lord comes back. Oh man, he's in a school now. Oh, he's gotta blend into normal society nowadays. Is this just becoming another, like, genre in and of itself? We get so many of these nowadays. But even amongst those, I'd argue some of the most generic shows are these shows. Even amongst them, this show is some fucking buns, bro. It is bad. So let's start with our main character, Leonis Death Magnus. Like I said in Berserk and Gluttony video, guys, they just pick random names that sound cool. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to call our boy Leo. Now, you see, our boy Leo is a demon king, if you couldn't piece that together. He's the undead king and the strongest of the dark lords. And at the beginning of our series, he gets defeated and has to reincarnate himself. Who'd have seen that coming? But there's a twist. And here's where the show could have actually been okay. Let's talk about his life before he was the Demon King. Because you see, he was a human, obviously, at some point. And he was actually a hero. Now, this is kind of a tried and true trope at this point now as well. But he was a hero who was probably legitimately the only truly righteous person in his world, who actually cared about the people and wouldn't sacrifice them. But just like any world, there's always bad people in it. As we see, he gets betrayed immediately and murdered. And he gets murdered in a pretty wild way, actually. I will admit that. And it's here he meets a certain evil goddess who tells him flat out, you know, you are legitimately the only righteous person in this world. You don't deserve this. Out of everyone in the world, you don't deserve this. Heroes are boring. Why don't you become mine instead? And it's from that point on, he becomes the Demon Lord. Quite literally, essentially selling his soul to her and becoming the undead king. Now, even with how generic this concept is, because it's been done a lot at this point, it could have been good. I like stories where the morality is kind of gray with characters, like where he was good, but then he turns bad, but you can still see little glimpses of goodness here and there, even amongst the bad things. But where this show fumbles is that when this man reincarnates, he is a completely different person. I hate when series do that. It is absolutely garbage. He is not the same person at all. And you could say, oh, that's because he reincarnated, obviously. He's going to have a different personality. Except he keeps his memories. He keeps his allies, who he literally brings with him in his shadow. And it's just terrible. And on top of that, he becomes a 10-year-old child, dude. Do you know how much I hate that trope in series? I truly hate it. Where our main character is just a fucking child, and we have to go with them as they're a child. I'll tell you guys now, this might surprise you. I almost dropped Mushoku Tensei early on because I did not like that Rudius was a kid early on. I really did not like that, and I didn't want us to spend too much time on it. But you know what propelled that series forward, good characters, good writing, and a great world. We have none of that shit in this show. Now, as I said in the beginning of the video, our boy Leo, after being defeated early on, goes into a deep sleep for 1,000 years, only to get woken up by two girls exploring his, I guess you'd call it, tomb. One of them is Roselia Ray Cristelia. Now, you know you're a character of all time when your name rhymes with itself. And the other one is Regina Mercedes, which, that's a stripper name. We'll leave it at that. And I'll tell you guys right now, within 10 minutes of watching this show, I knew exactly how the entire show was going to be. To a T. And I was right. Fan service galore. Now, you would think our big bad demon lord, someone who almost brought the world to their knees, who had to be taken out by almost all the heroes combining together to thwart him and put him into a sleep, gets flustered by some titties. By some titties, bro. Said no man ever. What the hell is this? As I said, completely different character. Ridiculous. Kind of stupid, honestly. Just literally a child, which I guess you could say is because he was reincarnated into one, but still, come on now. Who is embarrassed by titties, dude? I hate that anime trope. Nah, man. Bring me in. Bring me in. Put me in them. I ain't gonna be embarrassed. And it's here we see as they're trying to leave this tomb together, because they mistake him as literally a lost child, because he freaking is one, obviously. They get attacked by creatures called voids. Now, voids, I would not say are interesting at all. They're essentially monsters that, at least from what I saw in the show, are kind of like based on monsters from 1,000 years ago that our boy Leo faced, that have taken over the world and turned it into a post-apocalyptic state. And they actually end up killing Roselia as she's trying to protect our boy Leo. Now, here's where our tropes start coming in. Because you know, obviously, as a big demon lord, he's powerful. So he easily takes them out. And as he sees her dying, he decides, you know what? She was brave enough to try to save me. Let me bring her back to life. But not in the way you think. Because he actually brings her back to life as one of his minions, a vampire queen, to be specific. And it's here we just start getting tropes galore, bro. Because, oh man, how does a vampire replenish their strength, guys? Well, by sucking on the blood, of course, of their master, who is a 10-year-old child, by the way. Now, I don't typically care about this kind of stuff in anime. I've come to accept that anime is weird, but I still didn't like it. How all the females in this show are just so unabashful. Like, oh, he's a kid. It doesn't matter. Bro, he's 5 years. He's only 5 years younger than them. Name me a girl who's walking around naked around someone who's only 5 years younger than them. Where the fuck were they when I was younger? Where were they, man? It's ridiculous. It's over the top. And even the action in this show is very bad, very generic. The animation is stiff as hell. The fight scenes are kind of laughable, honestly. It's very not good. Like I said, it's stiff. It's not animated very well. And they try to blend 2D and 3D, which they do better than some shows, honestly. But it's still not good looking. We see that all the characters in the show are essentially tropes. They're not characters. They don't have personality. At least with a show like Berserk of Gluttony. When I said I didn't love how it focused so much on Roxy, at least she was a character. She actually had some character and some motivation. And I'm not saying these don't, but man, are they just bland. This show makes Berserk of Gluttony look like a Shakespearean work in comparison. And that's saying something. We got our typical big sister type of the group that's always teasing our MC. Shocker, I know. We got our cool, collected, intellectual beauty of the series. And then we just have our big, muscle-headed girl. You know, swing sword around, beat monsters up, eat lots of meat. You know, typical shit. And then, of course, we have Roselia, who is quite literally just her designation is just waifu. Just waifu to the MC. Just love interest. That's all you need to know about her, essentially. Just love interest. It's just the show is so generic, man. And it could have been good. The post-apocalyptic world angle, no, even though it's been used a lot of times, guys, can still be good. Look at a show like Attack on Titan, man, who I'd say its premise isn't like super complex or anything like that, but it's done very well, and it's expanded upon and only built upon as the series goes up, as we start unraveling mysteries. I imagine this show will be the same, just to an absolutely worse degree. I don't know, man. I don't think this show's very good at all. As I said, even amongst its peers in the same genre, it is like bottom of the barrel. And I just cannot recommend this show to you guys, honestly. Unless you like these kind of shows, which, I mean, I watched it, so I guess I don't hate them, but it doesn't stand out at all. I don't think it's worth your time, honestly, especially when we have some absolute bangers that I'm going to bring you guys soon on the channel that you should absolutely watch instead of this. So, I don't know exactly where I want to place this show, to be honest. I'm truly hovering between a 3 and a 4 out of 10 on this. It is the definition of below average. And you know, because it's almost Christmas, I think I'll be a little generous today and give the Demon Sword Master of Excalibur Academy a 4 out of 10. Because at the very least, I guess it had an ending, not a very good one, that they're clearly setting up for like, oh man, look, another season, we could get one, right? Renew us, please, please renew us for another season. I mean, if it had one, I'd watch it just to see if it goes more downhill, which it definitely could. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this show down below. Trust me, we got some more stinkers this season too that I want to talk about. But I specifically chose this one to talk about now because, funny enough, I watched these at this show the same time I watched Berserk and Gluttony. I didn't mention that in my video, but when I was going through them, I had both of the first episodes pulled up. And I watched them both. I was like, all right, let me check out this show, the first episode, and let me check out this show. Like, what do I want to watch first? And I watched this show first. And like I said, I immediately knew how the show was going to go. And I watched Berserk and Gluttony, and I was like, oh, this is the easiest decision ever. This is the easiest decision ever. This one's at least decent. I can watch this one. This one's bad. So, again, let me know your thoughts on this one, because it's the definition of a stinker, bro. Whew, this room smells because I'm talking about it now. So until next time, guys, I hope you all have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day. And I'll see you in our next video when I cover a great series. I'll see you then. Deuces.